Hello, welcome or welcome back. We swiftly continue with this lesson in standing for the neck. So please come to stand. Stand on both feet. And then we start with the pelvis. So start to move your pelvis in space. So when you're standing, your pelvis is on, where is it? And then start to move it backwards. So what do you think of when you move your pelvis backwards? What is our way of moving the pelvis backwards? So little by little, a little. Maybe think of your sit bones, the space on your behind where you sit, where you can feel the chair when you sit, and you move that backwards. Or is it the lower back you move backwards when you move your pelvis? What is the pelvis? What part do you think of when you move it backwards? So, but the pelvis is not alone in this world. So when you move the pelvis backwards, also move your belly a little bit backwards and let your shoulders drop forwards. So pelvis backwards and shoulders forwards. So the shoulders, they move around the chest. They come around the chest and the hands hang like a monkey, like a gorilla. The hands hang forwards and you can let your head hang down and then come back to stand upright. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Pelvis backwards. So that's a shift and you can feel it on your feet. And to keep balance, when the pelvis goes backwards, the head needs to come counterbalance forwards and the hands hang down, the arms hang down. It's like a nice little bow. So like a Japanese bow, maybe. But you don't look with the eyes to the horizon, you let your nose drop. So backwards. And then you move the pelvis back to center, and so we can feel the center better. So where is the center when you move your pelvis from behind to over your knees? So are you bending your knees and your ankles? How does that work? And then go into the other direction. Move your pelvis forwards. But maybe that's the movement cue. Keep standing. Keep your feet where they are and the pelvis moves forwards in space. And then back to where is it? Where is the center? Where is the home position? The neutral position where the pelvis is neither backwards nor forwards. Where is this balance point in the middle between forwards and backwards? And then also we need to add more things. You move your pelvis forwards and with your chest. What are you doing with your chest? The chest is like you're chesting a ball, like a soccer ball. Whoop. So you can think of a friend sends you a ball and you pop, you chest the ball, boom, which means your shoulders hang backwards. The shoulders move around the chest backwards this time, and your arms are hanging backwards. So don't let your belly hang out loosely, plus flaccid, but have some tension because there's a ball and you want to chest the ball. Yes, so, and your head, so a lesson about the neck, your head moves backwards a little bit. So you don't have to face the ceiling. No, it's a passive movement, grammar point. The head is tilted backwards as much as the pelvis is moved forwards. Something like this. Okay, so this is our first movement, the pelvis backwards and forwards. Yes, and then take a short rest in standing. So just stand, feel how you're standing now. With this new question, oh my God, where is the center? Where is the point in between forwards and backwards where you balance yourself? Do you have your habitual center? Or is there something new to be observed? Passive. Something we observe. Be observed. Now, this was bending forwards and backwards, and now we add bending sideways. Sideways bending. So move your pelvis to the right, the feet stay where they are. You move your pelvis a little bit to the right. And how does that work? So of course, also like before, it's not just the pelvis that displaces itself to the right, but the head moves to the left. The left ear comes closer to the left shoulder. But let's make this a pointing. Let's appoint the pointer finger, the left pointer finger, and point with the left pointer finger down to the left on the floor. Like, let's call it dog pointing. You found something on your left and you point something on the left, and then you look forwards. What is this? What is this on the floor? So you point to your left on the floor, and in order to really point, to mean it, to show that you mean the movement, the pelvis needs to go to the right, and the chest bends, the whole spine bends. You can use your right hand to feel your spine bending, to feel your chest bending, and you point with your left pointer finger downwards. But where to? So maybe keep pointing downwards, or maybe take a short rest. So come up to standing. Side bending, not as easy as bending forwards and backwards. So again, point with your left finger, left arm downwards, and move the pelvis to the right. And then stay in this position, pointing downwards, the whole spine bend to the left, and move your pelvis forwards and backwards, like we did before. So you're in the side bending position, and then you start to move your pelvis forwards and backwards. And of course, you can take breaks in between and then start a fresh movement. The pelvis to the right, the left pointer finger pointing downwards to the left, and then the pelvis moving forwards and backwards.
Yeah.
And really point downwards. You have found something on the floor you want to point out. So you want to point it out. So you point downwards, and when you move your pelvis forwards and backwards, which side of your pelvis has a larger movement? So probably the left side of your pelvis can move forwards and backwards a lot more than the right one. Huh? Is that something that's observable, that can be observed by you? The pelvis, the left side of the pelvis, can move forwards and backwards much better than the right one. And let it do just that. The left side of your pelvis forwards and backwards while you're pointing downwards with your left arm, left pointer finger to the floor, to the left of your left foot. Okay, short break, just standing, lopsided standing. And then again, point with your pointer finger downwards to the left, and move your pelvis out of the way to the right, and then point with your, so look where you're pointing with your left pointer finger, and then point to your big toe on your left foot. So there's something moving the big toe, and then point to the side of your left foot, and then point behind you to your left heel, and maybe you can even point to your right heel and follow with your head and your chest. Follow your pointing around yourself. Just pointing to the left big toe, so you mean it, you point downwards and you reach downward to point, there's something at the big toe, and then no, now it's on the side, it's moving, and then it's at the left heel, and then maybe it moves around. So here we have this, the pelvis reacts to this movement. The pelvis can go around, and the chest can go around, the shoulder moves around the chest, so you open the left side of your chest actually when you point as far as it's possible. Of course, if it's just a little movement, it's okay. It's great, just a little movement. So it's about the movement and not how much. How much it will grow, it will become more flexible as we engage in this pointing business. All right. So then just take a break in standing and lopsided standing. Feel how your left shoulder is dangling down. Okay. And then we will do one last thing. So again, with your left pointer finger, point down to the left and move your pelvis to the right. And bring your left ear to your left shoulder. So look forwards. So don't look to the floor anymore, but look forwards. Yes. And then bring your attention to your right shoulder. So the right shoulder. And then lift, if that's possible, lift your right shoulder up towards your right ear. And as soon as you do this, as soon as you pull up your right shoulder to your right ear, you can side bend a bit more and then stop pulling up your right shoulder. So the starting position is this side bending. Or let's make it easier. So start in standing, so come back up to standing, and with your left hand, touch the left side of your leg, your left leg, and slide down with your left hand, your left leg towards your left knee on its side. So this brings you into a side bending motion, and you're looking forwards, and your left ear closer to your left shoulder, and then you can feel a pull on your right side. Your right ear starts to face the ceiling. So don't make this pull too strong, just a little bit. And to release this pull up your right shoulder, the tip of your right shoulder towards your right ear. So it's a movement of the right shoulder. And with this movement of the right shoulder, you can maybe even slide down with your left hand a little bit more. So the right shoulder goes up and down, and you're lengthening the right side of your neck, the side that is facing the ceiling. And the left ear is coming closer to your left shoulder and closer to the floor. So we're going more and more into a side bending. Okay. And then use your right shoulder to pull, to push yourself back into standing. Now we're really lopsided, aren't we? So the left side is a lot easier to collapse. So that's what happened. The right side is starting to be easier to be longer, and the left side is more ready to become shorter, to collapse, and that's why we have this tendency now to side bend to the left, and we need to fix that to the right. So we'll do the right side now after a short little break in standing. Just stand, and then first movement, move your pelvis to the left. And of course it's not just the pelvis that moves to the left, but your right hand, with your right hand start to point, to reach downward, to point with your right pointer finger, point towards the floor on your right, while you move the pelvis to the left. Yes, so that's how we started the side bending on the other side a couple of times. So repetition, but not a drill repetition, but we observe how it is to shift the pelvis to the left. This time it's different. You might feel a different balance on your feet, and how you can side bend your shoulder girdle, how you can side bend the middle of your back, the middle of your chest. And point downwards. Okay, a couple of times, come up again, and then point downwards again with your right finger downwards to the floor, and then stay down, stay side bend to the right. So you're really pointing downwards. Look at this on the floor. What is this on the floor? And then move your pelvis forwards and backwards. Just like we did on the other side. So you're looking to the floor on your right side, or you're reaching down to your right side, and you move the pelvis forwards and backwards. I don't know, 10 times, a couple of times, until you're tired of it, until there's nothing new to explore, until you feel, oh, that's very smooth. And then we come up again and go back into the side bending situation. So move the pelvis to the left with your right pointer finger, you're pointing down to the floor, and this time you move your hand, your right hand, to point to your right big toe. And the whole arm to point to your right big toe. What's there on the right big toe? Is there some color or not? For me, there's no color. And then, or is there like a ant? Did we eat some sweets in the living room yesterday? Yes. And now we have ants. Yes. Congratulations. And then the ant is walking around. So we're pointing out to the right of your right foot. And then the ant is moving to your right heel. So you use your whole self, flexible. So you're not like a robot from Boston Dynamics with a stiff chest. No, we are humans. We're very flexible. So you point around to your right heel and maybe even to your left heel. So your right shoulder, your right side of your chest opens up. We have a back bend, a side bend. We have a twist. So you go around, you point around. So to look at the floor, point around with your right pointer finger, or maybe you even draw a circle or a quarter, half a circle on the floor. Yes. Side bending and pointing. Okay. Short break in standing. So what was the last thing? Yes, the left shoulder. So bring your right hand on, so we start in standing again. Your right hand on your right, on the outside of your right leg, and then you start to slide gently. Feel your fingers slide down on the right of your right leg towards your right knee, which moves your pelvis to the left, and side bends inside your chest. You reach down until your right hand doesn't go down further, and then your right ear is close to your right shoulder, and the left side of your neck is long and stretched, and your left ear is pointing towards the ceiling. And then we take a short break. We don't want to overwork ourselves. And then again, come into this position where you slide down with your hand, and you're in the side bending starting position. And in this position, lift your left shoulder towards your left ear and let it go again. So you're moving your left shoulder. And where do you look? Do you look down to your foot, or do you look to the screen? And this makes a difference. And what kind of difference does it make? And how you turn your arm, this makes a difference. If your left palm is facing outwards, or if your left palm is facing towards yourself, that makes a difference. And the pathway of your left shoulder, if it moves around your chest or straight up or in the back, it makes a difference. All of this makes a difference. That's the data we are generating and collecting. That's why we're doing this movement. We're generating data. That's what the AI cannot do in this world with a physical body, I mean. So we are exploring the world. We are creating these movement pathways. And we try to make ourselves feel better, and that's our feedback. If it feels good, and if it's interesting, then it's something we can use, and end of the story. It will enrich our lives. Okay, so come back up to standing and see where you're standing now. What is the position of your feet? So nobody needs to tell you where your feet need to go. You stand and you feel, this is a good position for my feet. And this is a good position for my pelvis. Yes. And this is a good position for my chest. And my chest needs to like chest a ball, or it needs to be a bit forward and backward, and that's you. You can decide that, and you can decide when you can feel it. And in order to be able to feel something, we do this movement. Yes, okay, so the neck. The last part of this lesson, after we prepared everything, we need to crown this lesson with the neck part. So stand, and with your left hand, again, point to the down, to the left, a side bending situation. So you know already, when you point with your left hand down to the floor, the pelvis moves to the right, side bending. You point down to the floor, but then what is this? There's something on the ceiling. You point with your right hand up to the ceiling. So your left pointer finger is pointing downwards to the floor. And where does your pelvis go? Pelvis go forward or backward. And your right pointer finger points upward to the ceiling. And you can look up to the ceiling in this situation. Or look down to the floor. Or maybe take a short rest. Whew. Okay, again. With your left finger, you point downwards to the floor. And with your right hand, you point up to the ceiling. Yes? So that's a static position. So it's not a stretch. One finger up, one finger down. But you look with your nose, with your eyes, you look up towards the ceiling or down towards the floor. And where is your left pointer finger pointing? To the back, to your left heel, or to your left big toe? And where is your right pointer finger pointing on the ceiling? Is it behind you a little bit, so this opens, or is it in front, so you can move a little circle and you move around, and the head can go from the floor. What's that on the floor, and why is it also on the ceiling? Why is the aunt walking on the ceiling? What's the business? There's no ice cream, no chocolate, no sugar on the ceiling. Why is it walking there? Okay. As it is available to you, so it does not need, the right arm does not need to touch the right ear, but just, or it can, if it can, just as much as it is available to you. And then we will do the same thing, of course, on the other side. So stand, and then with your right pointer finger, what is this? Red ball, and with your left pointer finger up to the ceiling. And where do you point? And your head turns from the floor, where you point with your right pointer finger, to the ceiling, where you point with your left pointer finger. So the head is moving to one side or forwards to what is happening, so you can express your face to me, or to the floor, or up. Yes. Again. So take a short break and then do it again. Down and up, or on the other side with the left pointer finger down and with the right one up and down. Yes. Okay. And then the last one, the last movement, the top of this lesson, we point down with the left one and up with the right one. Yes. Or you reach up with your right hand towards the ceiling, and then you also reach up with your left hand to the ceiling. So both hands reach up, and then you can look up. And we build this to point up with one hand and then point up with the other hand. So we point up with both hands, and then you look either forwards or downwards or upwards to where you're pointing. So this is not a warm-up exercise for seniors. So if you give this to a senior person as a warm-up, as a first movement, I think it's too much. We use the whole lesson to build this pointing up or reaching up. We could do a reaching up game, but reaching up is not a first movement, it's the last movement of a sequence, when the neck is ready, when the chest is ready to support the neck. Der ganze Hofstaat, all the people from a castle support the king, the queen, the head, to look up, to reach up towards what? The little ant that's walking on the ceiling. Why is there an ant on the ceiling? Okay, so, and there we have it. So the head, the neck as an extension of the chest, and the chest that moves in all these directions, forwards, backwards, side bending, twist, lengthening, shortening. And the neck is just something in between. It's not the one who bears the most of the load, but it's the load of what we want to do in life is distributed over our whole self. Yes, so we play with this marvelous lesson. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed your neck movements, your full body movements. I hope you enjoy how you're standing now, how you feel now. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.